Where do I see myself in 10 years' time? Well, that's complicated and depends on quite a number of things. As some of you guys may have been following along, I'm applying to PhD programs in various psychology disciplines: cognitive psychology, behavioral psychology, social psychology, personality psychology. Um, pretty much everything but hardcore neuroscience stuff. I'm hoping to get into one of those programs. But anyway, what I was saying is I have at any given point generally a lot of paths open, and I always make sure I try to close as few doors as possible and thus leave myself a lot of opportunities. Right now, there's a lot up in the air in my life. Mark is applying for a job as a as a inspector for the United States Postal Inspection Service, which is actually it's a special agent position. It's a law enforcement position. Actually, it's not like delivering the mail. They investigate things like the anthrax scare and that kind of thing. But anyway, if he gets the job, he will be placed somewhere random in the U.S., and we won't know that until at the very earliest this winter. I won't know if I get into a PhD program, and if so, where I will be until at the very least next spring. So we've got a lot of stuff that's up in the air right now. So here's, at least within the next 2 years, here's what things look like. If I get into a PhD program, let's say I get into University of Minnesota, and Mark gets his postal inspection job, I will go off to graduate school, and Mark will go off to, let's say he gets posted to, I don't know, Vermont. He will go off to Vermont for 2 years, and he has to stay there for 2 years, and after 2 years he can transfer. So ideally, then after 2 years, he would transfer to Minnesota or maybe Michigan or Wisconsin or somewhere nearer to me. Hopefully to the same place, but life happens. Anyway, if he gets the job and I don't get into graduate school, then I will follow him to wherever he's posted, and I will then either reapply to graduate school, most likely reapply to graduate school, and or try and make something out of my photography business wherever we are relocated to. If I get into graduate school and he doesn't get the job, then I will go off to graduate school and he will follow me and find a job where I am. That's River in the background. And if neither of us get our positions that we're hoping for, then we are already talking about definitely moving out of the Washington, D.C. area to somewhere else. We don't know where that would be yet. We're looking for somewhere that's where Mark and I can both work, but that is still fairly has a low cost of living, etc., or lower cost of living. Anyway, so given those things, I see myself in a few different places potentially in 10 years' time. My ideal dream is in 10 years for me, and this is not necessarily how I see myself, but this is my dream, is to in 10 years see myself with a PhD in social psychology, doing working in a tenure track program somewhere with Mark, working in the same town and living together and whatever. However, that's my dream. I'm not really sure I see that. Where I see myself 10 years, God, I'll be 40. Wow, that's kind of scary to think about. Anyway, 10 years. Realistically, I see myself as having recently completed a PhD program, as I think it'll probably take me about 7 years to do my PhD, my dissertation and everything, assuming I get in. I can see myself, Mark and I are married, so I mean, it's something we've been discussing already, but I can see myself as having recently completed a PhD, and maybe I'm doing consulting work for companies or whatever else, maybe continuing doing postdoctoral work, doing research or something like that, living in I don't know, somewhere interesting, Minneapolis or Burlington or Albany or Richmond or something. Um, I am very well suited to research, and so that's something that, if possible, I would really like to make a career out of. I'm not a huge fan of teaching, but I am a huge fan of research. So the idea of me spending the rest of my life in a lab is actually much more appealing than it is to most people. I see myself continuing to reenact, but maybe a little bit less and less each year, or becoming more involved as like an organizational member rather than a participatory member. Um, and really, that's kind of it. As far as other paths, if I end up not going to graduate school, I could see myself, Mark and I living in the country somewhere, and me doing a lot of photography, maybe pet photography, a lot of equestrian stuff. I really, if I end up not going to graduate school, I have a very strong interest in getting into horse training, so I might get into animal behavioral stuff, that kind of thing. So, anyway, I am not really sad at all about the future. I'm in fact very happy about the future because I've never really been in a situation where I haven't had things work out. Because one of my skills is making sure that everything always does work out. Because I plan for those things. But anyway, so that's kind of where I see myself in 10 years. I hope that answered your question.